Okay, so maybe most of you knows what SCAR is, but just to give a very short introduction, SCAR stands for Scientific Committee on Antarctic Research, and it is a thematic organization of the International Science Council, and it is charged with initiating and developing and coordinating high-quality international scientific research, in particular in the Antarctic region and in the Southern Ocean. SCAR is appointed to give advice to the Antarctic Treaty consultative meetings on scientific issue mainly, but useful for governance and policy advice. And also SCAR organize events, international conferences like the SCAR Open Science Conference, but also thematic workshops and other conferences like the International Symposium of Earth Antarctic Science, or the equivalent for life science and physical science. SCAR has a long history. The first meeting was in 1958 after the International Geophysical Year, and since then has grown an international network of thousands of scientists who have the common vision, the common target to carry out Antarctic science for the benefit of society. SCAR also grant young scientists with fellowship and awards, and also senior scientists to visit countries that don't have Antarctic program already developed, and also give advice on guidelines for library and data bank. We will listen something about the Geophysical Seismic Data Bank on December the 3rd with another of our webinar from the Seismic Data Library System. And the main body leading SCAR is the SCAR Executive Committee, which is led by a president, which is now Gary Wilson from New Zealand, and four vice presidents. One of them is Carlotta Scuzia. I can use my pointer here, but Carlotta is here to the right of Gary. Gary is this one. Carlotta is the speaker of today, so you will listen from her. And then we also have Professor Nakamura from Japan, and Marcelo Leppe from Chile, and Burcu Otsoi from Turkey. And then the executive director, Chandrika Nath, and supported by the beautiful secretariat, Owen Griffin, and then Agnes Ganichot, Agarat Dons, and Joanna Grabov. The president and the vice presidents have a mandate of 4 years. They are elected by the SCAR delegates, and they basically carry forward what the SCAR delegates decide to do in the frame of Antarctic, the Scientific Committee for Antarctic Research, and also on the suggestion, try to coordinate what the action and expert group do. And one of them, the scientific program, which are basically the life science, physical science, and geoscience scientific group. And the geoscience scientific group is led by four of us, which is Jesus Galindo from Spain, Naresh Pan from India, myself from Italy, and Matilde Ferrante, Giulia Matilde Ferrante, who is a fellowship, SCAR fellowship supporting the geoscience leading team. The geoscience group in particular is organized in action and expert group, which are ADMAP, AntPass, AntVolk, Geocon, Giant, IPSCO, and ICE-Pro. And if you have followed the webinar, you already know most of them. What they do, they are dealing with specific data sets, like, for example, the ADMAP is collecting all the Antarctic digital magnetic anomaly and compile maps, pan-Antarctic map. The data are collected from all nations, so they collect all the data, they reformat the data, and they produce maps. Another group is the IPSCO, the International Bathymetric Chart of the Southern Ocean, which is compiling, in this case, the bathymetric data. Then we have other action group like the Antarctic Volcanism that is also identifying different Antarctic bodies and make a catalog and provide some outreach and dissemination products. And then we have also transversal cross-disciplinary action group like RINGS, for example, that is interested in investigating the grounding zone by using airborne geophysical data, but also as a connection with all the other groups like the physical science and the life science. And then we have the PRAMSO, which is also another, it's part of the physical science, but it's also a transversal group because it's dealing with paleoclimatic records from the Antarctic margin. So it, of course, is of interest of paleoceanography and oceanography, but also paleoclimate. So that's why we invited Carlotta and Adrian to speak about what PRAMSO does, what's the target, because we are quite sure that there is a lot of interest from the geoscience community in this particular action group. Before leaving the floor to Carlotta and Adrian, I want to show what's next. That's the calendar of our webinars. So we are almost over. We have 2 more webinars, one on November the 13th at 6 p.m. And it's the geological heritage and geoconservation. And watch that we changed the time. Is at 6 p.m. Initially was scheduled for 3 p.m. And then we have the last of the year is from the Antarctic Seismic Data Library System on December the 3rd. If you haven't registered yet, you can register. You go to the Geoscience portal. You find the whole list of webinars and also the registration. So spread the information to your colleague. And yes, now I leave the floor to Carlotta and Adrian. Thank you.
Thank you, Lara. So, Laura, I'm gonna share my screen. Let's see if it works. So now you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, so the camera is here. So first of all, I would like to thank Carlotta and Richard for giving me the opportunity to join this SCAR action group. And I also would like to pass on apologize from PRAMSO co-chief officer Richard Levy, who is at the moment in the field and couldn't join us today. So this webinar will focus on the SCAR PRAMSO Paleoclimate Records from the Antarctic margin and Southern Ocean Action Group. We will discuss what PRAMSO is, how it works, its background and context, its achievements and objectives, the records it is targeting, the infrastructure and drilling system available, and the upcoming PRAMSO activities and possibilities for the International Polar Year. So in terms of what PRAMSO is about, PRAMSO provides a forum to initiate, promote, and coordinate scientific research drilling around the Antarctic margin and the Southern Ocean. The main goal is to obtain past records of ice dynamics and ice-ocean interactions. These records are critical for improving the precision of predictions of future changes in global and regional temperatures and sea level rise. How does PRAMSO work? PRAMSO organizes conferences and support workshops to achieve its objectives. These activities allow the scientific community to exchange ideas, integrate multidisciplinary knowledge, and develop innovative international research proposals. They also help to establish major international research consortia, such as the International Ocean Discovery Program and the International Continental Scientific Drilling Program. PRAMSO also helped to establish a major research, well, let's say it has some history. It was originally a subcommittee on the PAIS, the Past Antarctic Ice Sheet Dynamics Scientific Research Program, which precede the current INSTANT, the Instabilities and Threshold in Antarctic Ice Sheet Program. As can be seen in the figure at the bottom of the slide, PAIS strategy was to obtain records from the ice margin to offshore sites and to undertake data model comparisons. Continental shelf sediments, as shown in this figure, can potentially provide a direct record of the advances and retreats of the grounding line across the continental shelf. However, these records are often discontinuous because of erosion. On the other hand, although the continental rise deposits do not indicate grounding line position, they can provide a more distal records of ice sheet dynamics. So they also record important aspects of Southern Ocean dynamics, such as the migration of frontal systems. During PAIS, PRAMSO achieved significant milestones. For example, the drilling by IODP of 3 major expeditions, highlighted by yellow circles on the map. For example, expedition 374 at the Ross Sea, 379 in the Amundsen Sea, and 382 in the Scotia Sea, as well as shallow drilling in the Amundsen Sea. Publication of results of previous drilling campaigns, including IODP Expedition 318, the Shell Drill, Undrill, and the CRP, in high impact journals. This served as lessons or learned for the new proposal. Submission of new drilling proposal for sites such as the Sabrina Coast, the Weddell Sea, the Antarctic Peninsula, Wilkes Land, or the Ekstrom Ice Shelf and the Kam Ice Stream. These represent a major achievement since previous drilling efforts around the Antarctic margin often took a decade or more to materialize. Also, the PRAMSO is now an established SCAR action group. It maintains close links with the INSTANT scientific research program. The aim of INSTANT is to quantify the contribution of the Antarctic ice sheet to past and future global sea level change, based on an improved understanding of the interaction and feedbacks between the climate, the ocean, and the solid earth with the ice. This knowledge helps decision makers to better anticipate and manage sea level rise, as well as evaluate mitigation pathways. Why is this work urgent? The urgency of quantifying sea level change is highlighted in the IPCC report or in the special report on the ocean and cryosphere in a changing climate and other major scientific assessments. So the future of the Antarctic ice sheet and its potential impact on the global sea level remains one of the largest uncertainties in the climate change impact projections. With regard to the PRAMSO objectives, the action groups includes, among other, understanding past ice sheet dynamics, including where, when, and how quickly ice was lost, and identifying thresholds for marine ice sheet instabilities, constraining the timing and characteristic of past warm periods, investigating changes in southern ocean circulation and water mass properties, such as studying frontal system migration, assessing the frontal deformation and variability of Antarctic bottom water, and improving our understanding of ocean heat transport to ice sheet cavities, and of course, ice-ocean interactions. To this end, PRAMSO targets sedimentary records that include both recent, last interglacial, high-resolution intervals, and all the record from past warm periods throughout the Cenozoic. For this purpose, the community can really rely on the different drilling and coring infrastructure depending on the time interval of interest. Longer time interval can be recovered with long piston cores, such as those collected by the Marion Dufresne, as we see here an example, which can recover up to 65 meters of sediments. There are also seabed drilling systems such as the MIBO, the PROD, which can recover sediment cores from depths of up to 200 meters below the seafloor. These systems are thus key for assessing older or more compacted sedimentary sequence. Well, and I'll now hand over to Carlota, who will update us on activities, on the latest activities and opportunities in PRAMSO.
Okay, thank you, Adrian. Thank you very much. As Adrian was mentioning, the infrastructures that are available to the PRAMSO objectives depends on what our objectives are in time interval. And well, we have relied in the past a lot in the International Ocean Drilling Program, especially with the JOIDES resolution. But as many of you may know, the IODP, which just finished his last phase on last year, now is starting a new program, which is IODP3, International Ocean Drilling Program Cube, which cannot count with the joyless resolution. And that leaves us with having to work with the ships that are available there, and that's going to be one of the works that we will have to do with PRAMSO. PRAMSO always has been a community in which we also have shared our knowledge about available platforms, available drilling systems, and so on. So this is also a value of this action group. Here in this image, well, there is, for example, the Chinese have also established an ocean drilling program that is not linked at this point with IODP3, but it also has a suite of amazing ships, including icebreakers. And this is something that maybe not through IODP, but through other international collaborations, we can take into consideration within PRAMSO. Next one, Adrian, please. This is the concept of the IODP Cube is the mission-specific platforms. That means that depending on the needs of the proposal work, they seek a platform that they hire, and then sometimes they have to make modifications to put moon pools to be able to deploy the drilling system. But if we want to drill, for example, in a very shallow continental shelf, or if we want to drill on an ice covered area, well, that's going to really require different platforms. Here also shown is the land drilling, because of course there is also the International Continental Drilling Program, and the IODP and the ICDP programs. They both encourage also the land to sea proposals. Adrian was mentioning how it has been a target of PRAMSO to do these transects from the continental shelf to the abyssal plain. But we also are encouraging to have transects that go from land to ocean, to really get a better sense of this ice-ocean interaction, ice cavities, and so on, from which we know so little, really. Next one, please. This is, for example, the land operations that have happened in Antarctica with Andrill in the past, also the Cape Roberts project in the past. Cape Roberts on land, Andrill drilling through this ice shelf and then getting through the water and to do the seafloor sediments. And on the right, you have the efforts that are now ongoing with the program SVICE 2C, sensitivity of the West Antarctic ice sheet to 2 degrees Celsius warming. And that has been targeting the camp ice shelf in the Ross Sea. And this year, they're now actually making the traverse to reach the oh, sorry. This is my daughter. I'm sorry about that. So they're trying to reach the Crary site. They have to go through the Crary site is reaching directly from the ice to subglacial sediments. The camp ice shelf was more a model like the Andrill, going first through the ice, then through the water, and accessing the seafloor. But that's the kind of platforms that the community can be thinking of in the future to achieve the objectives that we set ourselves to. Next one, please. So of course, if we want to access the platforms that allow us to reach all the records, then we need to go through both the international, the IODP Cube system or the ICDP Cube system, and we need to frame our proposals in their science framework. The IODP Cube has the science framework for 2050, and as you can see here on the right, I did put also the link to their page, but they have, targeted objectives within the Earth climate system, also within the tipping points that are very relevant to our work. And they are very specific targets toward the polar area. So that's something to take into consideration. And in the next slide, please, Adrian, there's also the ICDP science plan, which ends in 2030, but it also considers objectives that are related to environmental change, and that includes the polar areas. And for example, ICDP are the ones that have been co-funding the drilling efforts in the SVICE 2C program. Next one, please. Now, there is also something very interesting in this new phase of the IODP Cube, which is the SPARC projects, which are specific projects that use the legacy sites. So we have these co-repositories. One is in the West Coast and in the Gulf Coast repository in Texas. The other one is in Bremen, and the other one is in Kochi in Japan, and they all have these massive refrigerators full of cores that have been retrieved in all the years that ocean drilling has taken place, from this DSDP, from the deep sea drilling project, through the ocean drilling project, and through the two iterations of the IODP plus the one that is now starting. And this is a wealth of information. And of course, some of these records were obtained at times where some techniques did not exist, some analytical possibilities did not exist. And this is a possibility of going back to them and applying these new technologies and getting some information out of this course. These SPARC proposals are conceived to be like an expedition. So the proponents, they really take an expedition. Let's say we're going to look at all the cores around Antarctica, and we're going to focus on whatever Pliocene records we have obtained around Antarctica, and we're going to create our science team, and we are going to tackle these things with these new technologies. So it's really a proposal for drilling without having to use infrastructure. Next one, please. I should also mention that the SPARCs are funded with 300,000 euros. So that's I think the budget that the SPARCs have. The path to drilling is not so easy and is long. We have first to put a pre-proposal, and this is true for both ICDP and IODP. Then if the evaluation panels think this has value, they will recommend maybe to revise it, or maybe just to propose a workshop, a Magellan Plus workshop, for example. And in this workshop, you increase the community, you may increase some of the objectives to make the expedition more worthwhile, the time of the ship. And then you develop full proposals that when they are evaluated, very highly evaluated, then they go to what is called the facility boards. And the facility boards are the ones that schedule these proposals. And then you go you drill, and then there is the work after drilling, which of course also requires the community to coordinate into the sampling, the analysis, and getting the results out. PRAMSO can help through this process, and it has helped in the past. For example, in the past, we had a series of proposals. That's very important to have proposal pressure in Antarctica. And we had several proposals, and in the evaluation panels, there was some confusion why we needed to drill in different places for the same kind of record. So PRAMSO did put an umbrella paper and a letter and talk to the evaluation panel as well as the facility board to explain that Antarctica is huge and what happens in one place doesn't need to be same as the other, and to really get a good idea of the processes and the impacts of global change in the ice sheets. We needed to have this array of sites around Antarctica, and we still do, of course. So this is a process in which having the community, that's what PRAMSO is, a community of interested researchers helping each other through this path, and I think that's a very high value of PRAMSO. Next one, please. So this is just for you to have, if you look at the to the presentation later, this is usually you have to put the proposals in the different deadlines. And next one, please. And this is the situation we have today. And I'm focusing, of course, more in the drilling proposals because they're the hardest to get. Of course, we can always get paleoclimate records from our gravity cores, our piston cores in a small oceanographic vessels, or like Adrian was saying, on vessels that have large coring capacities like big casting cores or vibra cores, or these long piston cores like the Marion Dufresne and other ships have. But for drilling, what we have now in the IODP Cube system is 4 proposals for Antarctica. And this may be misleading because we had many more at the end of the previous IODP, before IODP Cube. And some of these proposals may still be transitioning to IODP Cube. But the truth is also that many of these proposals were targeting drilling with the JOIDES resolution. So since the program is now starting to walk, some of the communities are still unsure what kind of records can be achieved with a mission-specific platform system. So I think that's also a place where PRAMSO has a lot to do, and the community talking to each other. Right now, these 4 proposals are in different stages. The channel 1, which has been in the system for a long time, is to drill the sediment drifts around Antarctica, around the Antarctic Peninsula, is mainly to apply the paleo intensity records in these high resolution Pleistocene sections. Is in a waiting room, and I think I'm not very sure what that means, but it is very highly evaluated. Mackay proposal, which is tracing the Antarctic cryosphere origins to climate and tectonics. That one has been invited to be reviewed to a full 2 proposals. So this is has been very well received and is highly ranked. And then the other 2, which is one that has been in the system for a long time, that is led by Trevor Williams, is from the greenhouse to the icehouse in the George Fifth Land and Adderley Land. That one is in the facility board, as well as the Karsten Gold-led proposal, which is the development and sensitivity of the West Antarctic ice sheet from drilling records in the Amundsen Sea. So these are the 4 projects, 2 of them in the facility board. That means that they could be ready to schedule. And then we have the ongoing ICDP projects, which is the one that I mentioned before, this VICE 2C, which is this year going to the Crary ice rise. So obviously, when you see this panorama, the big job of PRAMSO right now is that to really join the community and to do lots of activities to get the community excited about proposing programs. So there is more proposal pressure. What brings the ships to an area, doesn't matter where it is in the world, but much more when we are talking about Antarctica, is to have a lot of pressure in that region. And that's something we should do. The other thing that is hurting us is that our proposals are very expensive. And the funding in IODP3, like in many different programs all around the world, is less. So we need to try to work with the operators in these programs, but also with people that owns ships to really try to get the cost of this drilling down. For example, the one that I'm familiar with, the one led by Trevor Williams, is a proposal that to drill costs around the 20-something millions, 23 million. Well, you know, what we are being asked is what kind of in-kind contributions we could bring to the table. Maybe a ship like the Nuyina from the Australian program can be put in kind. And of course, that means that the Australians will get lots of extra benefits from this cruise, which would be just fair. And these kind of things, and also like the IODP Cube is trying to get the proponents to put an essential program, more extended program, and a full-blown program. Because maybe an essential program will get you the key objectives that you want to get from that area and allows you to piggyback with another proposal that is put forward in another margin nearby by other proponents. So we need to think as a community as how we can do this. And of course, as we have done in the past, we then can be not only facilitating the communication between the community, but also provide an umbrella to support these proposals in the evaluation panels and in the facility boards. Next one, please. Now, this coordination within PRAMSO is even more important today because we are heading towards the International Polar Year in 2032-2033. And of course, this is a polar year that comes before its regular timeline because of the urgency of the issues that society has to deal with. Yeah. So right now, in the graphic below, which is very hard to see, I understand, but I did put in orange or in pink, I don't know, but from 2021 to 2025 is the start of organizing the structure for the IPY, but then after 2026 is when there's going to be the start of building the projects at everything, at the national levels and at the international levels, okay? So this is something that therefore is key that PRAMSO starts playing a key role because some of the projects that could be within PRAMSO could be big efforts for the International Polar Year. And with this objective to get the community together, next one, Adrian, I think that's, yes. We have a proposal forward for having a workshop during the SCAR Open Science Conference that will be in the 10th to 14th of August. And the site meetings and events are planned for the 8th and the 9th and the 16th of August. And we have requested the 9th of August to have a meeting of PRAMSO. Here you have the conveners and co-conveners listed. And in this workshop, what we really would like to do is to review the ongoing proposals, the ones that were before and that may be put forward again, to discuss emerging initiatives of Antarctic and Southern Ocean drilling, and to start fostering this cross-disciplinary communication between the community to really get towards not only successful drilling proposals, but also to maybe bigger international efforts towards the IPY. And I think with this, Padrian, if you go to the next one, I think this is all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was very comprehensive. So you touched basically all the the aspect of IODP and PRAMSO.
Yeah.
So are there any questions from the audience?
Nothing on the chat for now, Laura.
Yeah, I mean, we did focus on IODP and ICDP because, of course, they're the they're the toughest programs to develop. Yeah, we all take paleoclimate records in our own national cruises and even within international collaborations with national programs. But you know, or like the effort that Laura is involved to collect records from the Wilkesland margin, from the Cook margin. That's also with the EU, for example. So, you know, there's other efforts that we have not discussed, and they can also be part of the discussions that one has in PRAMSO. But we kind of wanted to focus on the hard, on the one that is a hard path that takes many years, because for that reason, it needs to be started soon.
Well, also you need, for example, the site survey. And so PRAMSO has been very good in disseminating, for example, the need of collecting existing data or filling the gaps if there are gaps. So
You're absolutely right.
yeah.
And the seismic data library system, which you will have the next not the next
Webinar.
the webinar in December, that has been key to support all the efforts from the past drilling, and will still be key for the efforts in the new program. So you're absolutely right, Laura.
Yeah, because PRAMSO generally organize meetings, as you showed, for the Open Science conferences or for the International Symposium of Earth Antarctica. So it's piggyback to other conferences. So get the chance to have many scientists already together in the same place and discuss. Of course, geoscience, paleoceanography is one of the main interest, but not only. There are also geodynamics and volcanism. I mean, all sort of proposals that needs drilling facilities. And as you say, it's a very difficult and long-lasting planning effort that's needed. So PRAMSO is really instrumental to make all this community talking together, and especially for young scientists is good because they grow, they kind of start realizing how things work, and then they develop their idea with the support of the community. Until the end, they may be PI or co-PI of the final drilling expedition.
That's right. You know, you have to think that some of the people that is now in the proposals that are these 4 proposals that I showed, half of the proponents will be retired by the
Yeah.
time, you know, by the time these
Yeah.
proposals will get drilled. So that's why it's important to bring into this community, this early career and young people that will be the ones carrying forward these programs, actually. So that's very, very relevant. And
Yeah.
I did mention SCAR OSC, but it's also an instant conference that will be coming down the road sometime. And when that is defined, PRAMSO will also organize another community. Sometimes we have met during EGU. So, you know, depending on the on how the community is going, the urgency, because things may get closer, or maybe things are going on with the IPY, then you find these places where you can get as much of the community that you can together to keep on going with the discussions.
So the way how we can be involved, what do you suggest? How, for example, a young scientist who would like to be involved, what's the best way? Is it to contact you or?
Yeah, I mean, you know, people that has contacted me and Richard or you, who is also, you have also been playing a key role in PRAMSO, also Karsten Gold. You know, there's so many people in the community that has that is linked to PRAMSO that you know, they can serve as a guidance to these young people. And of course, what I recommend is that they come to the meetings, because that's when you really see the community talking to each other, the ideas. You know, we usually have in these meetings presentations also of the technologies that are available, because sometimes it's hard to fathom how you can get those records, unless you are aware of the technologies that exist. And we learn together about those things. And sometimes someone comes and tells you, oh, something has been, like when the MIBO came into place, we were all like amazed at this new technology. And now MIBO can go to 200 meters and is even better, So I would advise to try to get these people into these meetings. And for that, we will advertise the meetings that we have as much as possible through you, Laura and Matilde, through Geosciences, and through all the venues we can.
Okay.
We
have a hand raised, Carlota.
Okay. Yes.
Hi, my name is Pranay, and I am a third-year PhD candidate in the University of Delaware. It's in the US. So I also work with IODP sediments. I work with IODP Expedition 383 sediments. I work primarily on ice-rafted debris. But I know since the US is not the part of IODP Cube, which is really sad. But while you were showing the proposals, which were really interesting. So my question is there any way that graduate students from the US could be part of Spark or IODP Cube proposals, or maybe even the expeditions, or at least work on some of the records? If you could shed some light on that. Thank you.
Yes, Pranay, don't despair. Don't despair, because it is true that it's very hard for the US community at this time. But there are talks between IODP Cube and NSF, okay? And for example, the last cruise that was in New Jersey, it has been actually funded greatly by NSF. So the ties for drilling, because the interest of the community is there, they are there, and the willingness for the participation of US people in any efforts is there and welcome, okay? So this is very clear in all the IODP Cube meetings. We want to help, and we want the community, the US community, to be involved, continue to be involved. So for sure, you can definitely, if you know what kind of records you're interested on, then please you can contact me, and I can get you in contact with proponents, for example, or also contact the people that in IODP Cube that could guide you through how to achieve it. So yes, just ask, just reach out. Let me interrupt a minute. Adrian, sorry. Adrian had to go because he has a class to teach. I'm sorry. Just so people doesn't see it in the chat, it's not that he suddenly lost interest. It's that he needs to teach. So yes, Pranay, please don't despair.
Thank you so much. That's very helpful. Thank you so much.
Any more questions?
I don't see anything in the chat.
No.
Okay. Well, we recorded the webinar, and so the webinar can be watched later again in the SCAR Geoscience portal. And if there are questions later, you can always write us, contact us, and participate to the meeting. As Carlotta said, the meetings are always open to everybody, so we welcome all kind of initiatives.
Any issues or questions that you may have afterwards, or interest or whatever, we're here to help as much as we can. So reach out to us, and we'll try to, if we cannot help, we'll guide you to who can.
Okay. Thank you, Carlotta, and I
Thank
also
you.
thank everybody for attending the webinar today.
Thank you.
And I'll see you to the next webinar, which is November the 13th at 6 p.m. UTC, which is about the geological heritage and geoconservation from Anne Grikunov, Cliff Atkins, and Rick Martinez and Florencia Milanese. And so I'll see you there. Thank you.
Thank
And
you
have a
very
nice
much.
evening.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye-bye.
Que te veo ahora.